Hey everybody, today I'm talking about the internal versus the external locus of control. It is a concept developed in 1954 by Julian Rotter. It's often used in the field of psychology, and I am going to apply it to the narcissist from my own personal experience and observations. I feel that it is an acceptable truth to assume that all narcissists have an external locus of control, which means that they do not accept responsibility for anything. Nothing is their fault. They never have any accountability. So, this might help to explain why. It's their perception of the world, it's their perception of events and whether or not they have control over things. So, there's a 13 item questionnaire that's oftentimes applied in the career aspect, like for in the workforce, to determine whether or not people assess situations as their own personal influence or external influence. The score ranges from 0 to 13, and 13 is the farthest end of the spectrum that a person can be having an external locus of control, meaning that they believe that they have no control over things that happen around them. Julian Rotter's definition for the internal locus of control from 1990, he says, it's the degree to which persons expect that a reinforcement or an outcome of their behavior is contingent on their own behavior or personal characteristics, versus an external locus, which, defined by Julian Rotter again, is the degree to which persons expect that the reinforcement or outcome is a function of chance, luck, or fate, is under the control of powerful others, or simply unpredictable. This I thought was interesting. People that are middle-aged tend to have the highest level of internal locus of control, that is accepting responsibility for things that happen, or that is conversely, they'll accept blame for failures as well, which we know the narcissist will never ever do. So the factor that affects both internal and external locus of control is the stability of the causal factor. So common attributes caused in each of the 4 cases are shown in this table. You know what? I will try to link that 13 item assessment in this video. And also there's a great article about, so when someone has a stable internal locus of control, they feel that they have the ability to influence others as well as the outcome of the situation. When someone has an unstable external locus of control, they attribute things to luck. So, who do we know that does this? The narcissist. They will, I've experienced this with both my mother and my ex. They will never take accountability for anything. Nothing is their fault. So, in turn, they seek to blame external factors, external people, for failures or undesirable outcomes of situations. So that puts you right in the line of fire, because if you are in the presence of a narcissist and things are not going their way, they're seeking to blame someone outside of themselves. And if you're in their path, you are fair game to be blamed for the undesirable outcome, like I said. An external locus of control measures your general expectations. So if you have an internal locus of control and you tend to assume responsibility for things, that means that you're more motivated to make changes, to make yourself better, to make the situation better by putting in more work on your end. When you have an external locus of control, like the narcissist, they attribute it to factors outside of their control. So they'll blame luck, they'll blame other people, they'll blame anyone and anything outside of themselves, because the narcissist, we know, this is an acceptable truth, I believe, is that most, if not all, narcissists have external locus of controls. And that means that they do not assume accountability for anything. They are not capable of this adult-like characteristic. They are children, essentially, equipped with adult bodies and adult behavior. They appear like they're an adult, but internally they are children, which explains so much of their destructive and callous behavior, because they don't think about other people. They don't think about their actions and the repercussions of their actions. So, for example, in dealing with my narcissistic mother, she views the world as, she's very envious. That's another common characteristic of a narcissist. So anytime something happened, like say someone won the lottery, she would be like, oh, of course, that would never happen for us. Or, if something bad happens, or like they need to replace their roof or something, she would just attribute that to, oh, that's our luck. And of course that would happen to us, because they always get the short end of the stick, right? And if someone else, instead of being happy and celebrating other people's successes, my narcissistic mother will only dwell on her shortcomings or her lack of that success. It's an external locus of control, meaning that she assumes no responsibility for their lack of success or their lack of, desired outcome in their lives. In terms of an ex, my ex had an external locus of control, meaning that, if something happened, he would be more likely to blame me or to blame anyone aside from himself. He would never take responsibility for things. If you are in a relationship with a narcissist, undoubtedly you've been on the receiving end of the blame. And hopefully this is giving you a little more insight as to why they do that. Narcissists refuse to accept accountability, responsibility for anything. They view themselves as being above that. They're victims. They're perpetual victims all the time. I mean, that goes for my mother, that goes for my ex. For example, with my ex, I was diagnosed with MS when I was 20, and he loved to portray himself as some type of hero. Back at that time, I was diagnosed, but I was fairly healthy. There was no visible signs of my diagnosis, of me having MS. But he loved to portray to people that, he was the hero, he's the victim because he's with me. And, never mind my diagnosis, it's him being the hero, helping me with my diagnosis. So that's a perpetual victim, a narcissist just sliding themselves right into that role. I said this before about my narcissistic mother, that I feel that she thrives off of, events that have happened in my life, such as losing my son back there on the wall. Unfortunately, he passed away like 6 years ago, but she will always proclaim her loss, that it was so hard for her. Never mind the fact that my husband and I are the ones that had to go through all of the treatments and the horrors that came with the brain cancer that ultimately took my son's life. So, external locus of control, that is what the narcissist possesses. And I hope this gave you a little more insight as to what goes on back there, where this comes from. There is a spectrum. Some people have stronger beliefs that things are under their control than others. Similarly, some people believe that nothing is under their control. Some people have a belief that, more than others, that things are out of their control. That's it. It's basically all perception and viewpoint and where these people are coming from. Narcissists assume no responsibility, so they have full external locus of control. God bless you guys. Please subscribe to my channel. Check out my Instagram account. And God bless you guys. We're down, but we're not out, because we're getting out from under this cloud of narcissistic negativity, and educating yourself is the first step. God bless you.